how you doing? My name's Victoria, if you don't know me. I grew up in a low-income community in Brooklyn, New York, and I always saw the city as gray and dull with no nature. I hated living in a concrete prison. But this hatred turned into passion. Passion about urban environmentalism and environmental education. I wanted to see a change in cities in America, to paint these gray cities green. Semester in the city was the perfect opportunity. I was so excited to work in the environmental services field in a major city. When I got my internship match, however, I panicked. My internship is at Speak for the Trees Boston. I am not a forestry student. My first assignment in college was to memorize 40 different tree species. But after that, I forgot them all. Now I work at a tree company. I was so worried I wouldn't be able to do good work there. I know forestry students at UVM that sit in study rooms and compare blocks of wood for hours. That's intense and boring and not me. But after I started working at Speak for the Trees, I realized that I know much more about trees than I thought I did. I can't identify every tree by bud and bark, but I can tell you how their soil pH and nutrient levels affect their health. I can tell you what they do for an ecosystem. I can tell you different agroecology and permaculture principles. I can tell you plenty of things. The things I don't know, my mentor and coworkers would gladly teach me. I've gotten much better at identifying trees since I started. I didn't know how to mulch before I started, but now I do. Donuts, not volcanoes. Flare the mulch out from the center. I didn't know how to get water out of a fire hydrant to water trees, but now I do. I even learned most of Boston's common street trees. My job is to teach students about trees and tree equity. I don't have experience teaching, except for when I mentored an elementary school student for a semester. I was so scared that not being in the forestry field and my lack of experience in teaching would lead to my downfall. However, I realized that being a student myself while I do that is completely fine. My mentor, Josh, who's in charge of education at the company, doesn't have a background in forestry either. Everyone at the company has different education backgrounds, and not everyone is an arborist. In fact, there's only one arborist. I learned that it's okay to bring different knowledge to the table. You can't teach if you're not constantly learning. Once I started teaching, I took to it very quickly. My coworkers were actually surprised by my lack of experience. It just goes to show you never know how well you'll do at something until you put yourself out there. I still don't think I'm going to go into forestry after I graduate because that's just not my thing. Not into comparing blocks of wood. But I will always carry the knowledge I got from this for the rest of my life. I find that the work at my internship is so rewarding. I get to teach youth about the environment, shaping their view of the city they live in. Every class I teach, I see a reflection of myself in the students. I see the spark in their eyes when they realize living in a city doesn't mean living without a connection to the natural world. I see the same spark I had years ago when I first started learning about nature in Brooklyn. I hope to continue this line of work, and I'm thankful for all the opportunities I've had this semester. Thank you.